Hola colleagues, and welcome back to the channel once again, guys, for a full Barca news roundup, as we shall be covering the official unveiling of the club's kit for next season, as there is a new shirt number for Lamine Yamal as well. We shall also be looking at some transfer news, as there is an update on the future of Nico Williams, as well as those reports linking Dani Olmo with a potential move to Barca this summer. All of that coming up, so sit back, relax, and let's do this. But I want to begin this video with an injury news update, as earlier in the week it was reported that Uruguayan defender Ronald Araujo has undergone surgery on the muscle injury he sustained while representing his country in the Copa America quarterfinal victory against Brazil. After that injury, it was reported by Tony Juan Mati that Araujo was likely to miss between 6 to 8 weeks, as he was relying on a more natural route of recovery, opting against undergoing surgery at the time. But due to the fear of a potential relapse, Araujo ultimately decided to go under the knife, and earlier in the week he had that surgery on the muscle injury. Now it has been confirmed that Araujo will miss 4 months of action, and now it means that he is likely to return sometime around November. That means that he's not just going to be missing preseason, but he will also be missing a large chunk of the early weeks and months of the Hansi Flick era at Barcelona. And I wonder what this means for the future of Ronald Araujo, because he has been one of the players who has been touted as a potential big money sale due to the club's financial problems at the moment. But with this injury, which is keeping him out for an extended period of time, at this point it is highly unlikely that any of his suitors would be willing to pay big money for him. But then there is still the issue of his contract situation at Barca, because let's not forget he has that contract that is running out in the summer of 2025, which effectively means that if a renewal is not signed, then he will be free to discuss with overseas-based clubs from January about a potential free transfer in the summer of 2025. And Barca, they have that offer to his agents, which has yet to be responded to. But now with this latest development with the fitness of Araujo, is it likely now that Barca will be putting pressure on him to accept those terms that are on the table? Because Araujo has been relatively injury prone in his time as a first team player in the club, because ever since he was promoted to the first team in 2020, he has suffered 16 separate injuries. 16 separate injuries, which have seen him miss 46 of the 213 competitive matches that Barca have played in that time frame, and that is an astonishing 21% of the 213 games. That means that since Araujo was promoted to the first team in 2020, he has missed 21% of the total number of games that Barca have played in that time frame, and that is a very discouraging injury record, if I must add. When you look at the quality that Araujo possesses, when you look at what he can add to the defense when he is fit and available for selection, Araujo is a monster. But then again, this seems like another case of a player who is injury prone and cannot be relied upon to stay fit when the club needs him for the key games of the season. Another injury that I want to talk about today is that of youngster Pablo Torre. The bad news is that earlier in the week it was reported that he picked up a hand injury in training. It has been reported that he is one of the players who has impressed the German manager Hansi Flick the most in these early weeks of preseason training. The good news, however, is that Torre has successfully completed a surgery on that right hand injury, and he is expected to return to training next week, which means that he would be fully ready for when the club jets out to the United States of America for their preseason tour. But now I have to move on to the big news of today's video, which is the official unveiling of the club's kit for next season. Apparently, it is a retro-like kit that pays homage to the first kit that was ever worn by Barca in the year 1899, and it is said that the return to the old half and half style is a way of marking the club's 125th anniversary. And it is also important to remember that the club did something similar to mark its 100th anniversary back in the year 2008/09, when they also used the half and half jersey. The half and half jersey means that the stripes that we have become accustomed to in recent years, they have been shelved aside, and now it will only be one half each of the club's famous traditional colors of claret and blue. And the club released a video on Thursday to announce this, and the video featured a lot of club legends from Ronaldinho, Puyol, Andres Iniesta, amongst a host of others. And this was a pleasant sight to see, because it is always nice to take a trip down memory lane. But now my first reactions to this jersey is that this jersey looks very nice. It looks very beautiful. It looks like something that I would definitely want to get for myself, which I definitely will get for myself. But then there's this little part of me that would have preferred for the logo to be shifted to the side. Now the logo is clearly in the middle of the jersey, which is the design that Nike has come up with here. But personally, I think it would have looked better with the logo on the side. And then another observation that I want to make from this jersey is the fact that the Spotify logo in the middle of the jersey is very big, as opposed to the jersey we've seen in the previous 2 seasons where the logo was smaller with the write-up of the Spotify name. This jersey sports just the logo without the write-up, and I am of the opinion that the jersey would have looked more beautiful retaining the old look of the logo alongside the name write-up. But then again, for me, the design doesn't really matter, because what matters is success on the pitch. And if Barca end up winning an important trophy, like let's say the Champions League next season, then I really do not care if they play in rags, because the last time Barca employed the half and half jersey in the 2008-09 season, where they marked the 100th anniversary of the club, it was a season that ended up in a treble in Pep Guardiola's first season in charge. And I really hope that this switch is going to bring good fortunes and beautiful times back to our great club. But as usual, with whenever new jerseys are released into the club stores, there's always a large demand for player jerseys from the fans. And there's one player whose jersey has really been causing a lot of madness in the Barca stores since the official release of that new kit, and that man is Lamine Yamal. And it is easy to see why, because what a last few months Lamine Yamal has had, what a last few weeks Lamine Yamal has had. He has the world at his feet. He is living his best life at the moment, and he has a very bright future ahead of him. Now, as those jerseys were released, Lamine Yamal's jersey was printed with a new number on the back as well, because we all knew that Lamine Yamal was going to take a new jersey number in the coming season, as he had officially been promoted to the first team and is now officially a first team player. So of course he was going to change his jersey number, and we were hearing rumors that he was a candidate to take over the number 10 jersey from Ansu Fati and following in the footsteps of Lionel Messi. However, on Wednesday it was confirmed that instead of taking the famous number 10 jersey, he's going to be taking another of Lionel Messi's old jersey numbers in the form of the number 19 shirt. It is the same shirt number that Messi won when he was first promoted to the Barca first team, before going on to take over the famous number 10 shirt. And it now seems like Lamine Yamal would be following the same trajectory as Messi by picking up the number 19 shirt and hopefully getting the chance to wear the number 10 sometime later in the future. And it makes a lot of sense, because the number 19 shirt is the same shirt that he even wore for Spain on their way to Euro 2024 glory in Germany this summer. And reports coming out from the club is that Lamine Yamal's new number 19 shirt is the most requested jersey in the club stores following the official release of the club's kit for next season. Everybody is crazy to have a touch of Lamar. Everybody is crazy to don the new Lamine Yamal shirt, and Barca have been selling out on this shirt in the club stores. And now a lot of people were wondering why he didn't take off the number 10 shirt. And the reason why Lamine Yamal did not take the number 10 shirt, it's not because he was afraid of the challenge. If anything, he was ready to accept the challenge. But the major reason why he opted to take the number 19 at this point instead of that 10 that was reportedly being offered to him by the club is out of respect for his teammate Ansu Fati, who is the current owner of the number 10 shirt. And it seems like Hansi Flick has a little bit of hope of reintegrating him into the team next season. Currently, Fati is training very well. He has been impressing in training as well, and is looking to go on the United States tour with the first team, hoping to convince Hansi Flick that he has a role to play in the team next season. So out of respect for Fati, Lamine Yamal has opted against taking the number 10 shirt at this point. But then again, speaking of respect, A lot of you would be wondering that if he showed Fati this kind of respect, then why does it not apply to Victor Roque as well? Mind you, Victor Roque was the player who wore the number 19 shirt last season, but now Lamine Yamal has taken the 19 off him. Well, that is because technically at this point, Victor Roque is not even registered in the first team. Mind you, he joined the club last season after Gavi was ruled out for the rest of the season. So there was some salary room for the club to play with at that point. So at this moment, that window has closed. And right now, Victor Roque is unregistered. So the club still has to sort out his future. Either they can find a way to make his registration confirmed, or they might just even look to ship him out this summer. He has received interest from some clubs like Porto, Atletico Madrid, and some other interest from Italy. But at this moment, we really don't know what's going to happen with the future of Victor Roque. But the fact is, as at this moment, he is not a registered member of the Barça first team. So I guess that explains why it was easy for Lamine Yamal to take over the number 19 jersey at this point. But now I do have to move on to some transfer news, because the Nico Williams to Barça news just won't go away. Every day there seems to be a new update in this long-running transfer saga, because now it is reported that Barça are doing all they can to accelerate efforts to sign Nico Williams this summer, because mind you, there is serious competition from the Premier League in the form of Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool. But now it seems that Barca have made up their mind. They want to be intentional about this deal. They want to move fast. They want to act fast. And earlier in the week, on Wednesday to be precise, it was reported that the sporting director Deco, under the orders of President Joan Laporta, he met with the agents of Nico Williams. That meeting was said to have taken place in the city of Zaragoza, because the club are apparently looking to complete an agreement on personal terms for a 5-year deal with the player and his representatives. And it seems that an agreement may not be far off, because Barca are confident that paying the release clause in his Athletic club contract is not going to be a problem. Once the return to the 1-for-1 rule is confirmed, it seems that Barca would be in a position to pay that much talked about 58 million euros release clause included in the Athletic club contract of Nico Williams. Right now, it seems like the target is to reach agreement on personal terms with the players' representative, which seems to be drawing to a close, as that very important physical meeting between Deco and Nico's entourage has taken place on Wednesday. But the meeting with Nico's agent on Wednesday is not the only high-profile meeting that Deco has had this past week, because it is also reported that on Tuesday, Deco also met with the agents of another member of Spain's Euro 2024 winning squad in the form of Dani Olmo's agent, because apparently President Joan Laporta has instructed Deco to look into the possibility of bringing Dani Olmo back to the club. It is said that Barca are confident that they will be able to complete a deal for not just Nico Williams but also Dani Olmo this summer. At this moment, Dani Olmo has a 60 million euros release clause in his Leipzig contract, which is likely to expire on Sunday. However, the belief around the club is that Leipzig may be willing to negotiate that figure. Probably the club are thinking about negotiating a fee whereby they don't have to pay all the money at once, as is likely to be the case with Nico Williams' potential transfer from Athletic club. But even if Leipzig were to accept such payment terms, that still looks like a very expensive operation for Barca at this point, because if you are paying around 58 million euros for Nico Williams and then you have to pay close to 50 million euros or more for Dani Olmo, and that brings us closer to around 100 million euros. And the truth of the matter is, at this point, I really do not see how Barca would be able to pull off these two major deals without a huge sale this summer, because Dani Olmo has clearly been one of Spain's most important players in recent years as well. He has had a very good time playing for Leipzig in Germany, and in the just concluded Euros, he was one of the stars of the tournament, scoring 3 goals and providing 2 assists. He linked the midfield and the attack expertly whenever he was given the opportunity by Luis de la Fuente, and definitely he is going to be a quality addition to Barca. But now, if I want to talk about priorities, We all know that Barca needs a solid holding midfielder. Barca needs a deep lying midfielder at this point. So is this a luxury that Barca would be able to afford at this point with the dire financial situation that the club finds itself in? And while I think that Dani Olmo is a spectacular player, he's a brilliant player, I just feel like in the position that he likes to play, we have some quality and decent options in that position. We have Gundogan that can play in that position. We have Pedri that can play in that position. We also have Fermin Lopez that can play in that position, which makes me to see this move as more of a luxury than a necessity at this point, because honestly I feel Barca has more pressing needs, bro. It is no secret that Barca are crying out for a defensive midfielder, and there is also that problem of the right back position that we have left unresolved for so many years now. But let's see how the transfer window develops. Maybe this move that Barca are making are based off the fact that they might be planning a big money sale this summer. So do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, guys. What do you make of Barca's new jersey that was unveiled on Thursday? What are your thoughts on Lamine Yamal taking over the number 19 shirt at Barcelona? And what do you make of these links with Dani Olmo? And I really like to read all your thoughts in the comment section down below, guys. And if you enjoyed this video, please do give this video a thumbs up, turn on your notification bell so that whenever I drop on the channel, you shall be the first to know. And please do share this video as your way of helping the channel to grow. And if you appreciate what I'm trying to do with the channel, why don't you just hit that subscribe button, bro? Think of it as your way of supporting a small creator, and thank you in advance. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça, and I'll see you on the next video. Adios.